So when you log into your WordPress dashboard, this is what you'll see. Everything you need is down the left here. So you can see where you can make posts and pages and all your settings and things like that. You can pretty much leave all this as you find it. The most important thing will be editing your pages and posts. So what I'm going to show you is actually a couple of ways to edit a page. So a page is different to a post in that posts come up on the feed of the blog post. So of the blog page, basically everything else is a page except for the posts, which automatically populate on your blog page. So most stuff you'll deal with is a page. So I'll go to my home page to show you an example of how you can edit that. One way of editing a page is via the page itself while logged in. You'll get this menu at the top. So you want to use Enable Visual Builder as opposed to Edit Page. You don't need to use Edit Page, just Enable Visual Builder. Use that only for pages, so don't use that for posts. So the only reason you'd need to click Edit Page is if you want to change the URL or the title or the Yoast SEO details. So you can change the title here. You can change the URL there by clicking on here. The featured image, which is what shows up if you share it somewhere. And if you go down to the bottom, if you've got Yoast installed, you can change what your meta description is for that page, which is what shows up on Google. And you can see the example there. So if I put in a featured image, it will show up there. So let's just pop in a quick featured image there. There we go, it pops up there and it should show on Google or anywhere you share that. So then you just press update on there. So you shouldn't need too much in the edit page area. So we'll go back to the page itself and we'll click Enable Visual Builder. So the first thing you'll notice is it looks exactly the same as it looks to the user, which is really, really handy. So you're working very visually. All you'll really need to do is change photos and text. So to change a photo, you want to click on the grey bar cog. So you shouldn't need any of the other coloured bars, just the grey coloured bars. They are the modules. So if you click on the settings, you can then click on the photo itself and you can choose another photo from your media library. And then tick the green tick to save that, or the red X if you don't want that to save, if you don't want anything you've done to actually take. So then we'll scroll down, we can see some text here. So the same thing again, click the cog and it'll take you to the text. And you can just change the text there visually, which is quite handy. Same thing here, tap it and click the cog, takes you there. That goes for all text. So it's nice and easy, and then you click the green tick there. Same thing here, to change the photo, just click the cog, nice and easy. So once you're ready with that page, you then click this little purple circle at the bottom and hit save. And once you get a nice tick there, you can exit Visual Builder and your changes will be saved. So that's pretty much all you need to know there. One slightly different thing is your portfolio area. So again, I'll enable Visual Builder. I'll just let that load. Okay, so again, we've got a grey area and a cog. And as you'll see here, you've got all your photos. So scroll down to the bottom and click the plus button. And then let's add in a couple of nice new photos. Select, and they're added in at the bottom. So if you want to move them around, you can just hold that down and just drag it around and it will save itself. There, just hit Save Changes. And again, save the whole page. So just hitting Save Changes on that module will save it for the session, but not actually save it. If you came out of that, it wouldn't, the changes wouldn't show to viewers. So you do need to press the Save button down here as well. So that's everything you should really need to know for editing things on your pages. One other thing is that if you want to look at something on the mobile version, so if your heading, for example, your heading text may be too big, it might look really good on desktop, but you might want to change it for mobile, you can do that. So we'll go into there, and what we'll do, you can go to the design settings, which is where we choose how big the font is and everything like that. Go to heading text size, click the mobile picture there, and also to show it on phone like that. And then when you change the heading size here, it will only change it for mobile. So that's pretty handy. So I'm going to exit out of there. I don't need to change anything to save anything myself. So that is pages. If we look at posts next. Actually, let's go back and look at adding a new page quickly. If you want to add a new page, you can do it up here in pages, add new. And then put in your title first, and then you can use the Divi builder as you saw me using just now to make your page. So let's call it a test page. And I'm going to use Divi builder. Now the really cool thing is you can actually use an existing page as a template to get you started. So you don't have to start from scratch at all on this. There are some templates within Divi that you can choose from, but ideally I would say use an existing page to work from, because it'll have all your colours, all your fonts, it'll have everything, you know, your design, it'll have everything already there. So you can clone an existing page and then just sort of chop it down from there. So say for example, I want to use, this is just a venue page, so we'll use this layout. So this now looks exactly like another page that exists, so I want to go through and just, you know, change things up. That would be a whole other video to show you exactly how to make an entire page, but there are lots of videos on Divi, and also within here itself you can actually look at like little help things. It gives you little introductions and how to do stuff, so you can make your page from there. You know, change up the page title here, make sure it's changed in the back end and in your URL here as well, because they don't match necessarily what you write here to the actual title of the page that would show up on Google and things like that. So that would be the best way to do a new page if I were you. I'll just discard that. To do a new post, you can find all your posts here, and then you can add a new one. So again, add a title, so I'll put wedding post, let's say, I'll call it that. Oh, did it type? Bit laggy. There we go. So that will auto-populate my URL. When I press save, the URL will be wedding-post. And then you can save it. Once you've saved it, you can change it here if you like, if you want the URL to be different. So it could be that you want the couple's names here, but you don't want it in the URL, for example. What we can do, I'll hit publish there to save that, is we can now change that. I can just take out their names, and then you can hit update on that. So creating a post, you can start typing here, type here, and then you can click the plus button and put in a photo or a gallery. I've added a plugin called Masonry, which makes a gallery that shows, as you can see here, the sort of portrait and landscape orientation photos all fitting nicely together. You can do just a WordPress gallery. There are glitches with every single WordPress gallery available. All of them. There's things that I don't like about all of them. Sometimes you have to click on the individual images in the order you want them. You can't just highlight all, because they'll go in a funny order. Sometimes that's one of the glitches, and sometimes if you are doing it in a grid of like three wide, like this, it might, some of the other gallery options will order them like downwards rather than across, which is annoying in the timeline. So yeah, play around with whatever gallery type you prefer. So for example, this generic WordPress gallery has made this landscape photo portrait to fit, so which is why I like the masonry one. So you can have a play around with different galleries there. Another annoying glitch is that you often can't go into the gallery and edit it. WordPress has a lot of work to do in that regard, but that's where your extensions come in, your plugins come in. So you can always look for different galleries. If you search for WordPress gallery plugin and things like that, you can find ones that work for you and just install them, and you'll find it in your plus area. So you've got tons of different things you can add here, but basically it's pretty much text and images. So you can then do a heading and you can turn it into a paragraph by clicking heading there. And then you can turn it into H1, H2, H3. So H1 tells Google this is what the post is about. H2 is supporting headlines like subheadings. H3 would be, subheadings basically. It just structures it nicely so Google knows what it's all about. And then, make sure you're updating your post. In the settings area here on post, you will want to make sure you've got a featured image as well. Otherwise, it will just choose the first photo. So choose a featured image, ideally a landscape orientation one, otherwise it takes up a lot of the page. And you can also go down into Yoast and you can tell it what to say on Google. Google doesn't always listen to this, but it's good practice just to put in something. This is the wedding at blah 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 venue with this couple doing this kind of thing, something tempting, so the people on Google will be like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And you can work on your SEO by putting in what you want to be found for. So maybe their post is about a venue. I've called my, let's say Sussex barn is my key phrase I want to be found for. It's not doing well. So I need to do things like change this up. And I would need to do things like put it in here. For example, you'll want to make sure it's all over basically, and if you click here it will tell you all the different things you can do. So I've just done these things, so that's good, but these are all the other things you can do for your SEO there. And then obviously hit update. I will leave that because I don't need to save it. You can edit your posts in this section here, so I'm just going to delete that one. But you can go in and edit all your old posts there. You can add categories and things like that. So yeah, that is blogging. Things like updates can be handy. It's a good idea to keep your WordPress updated. So if it tells you you've got the latest version, great. If it says update it, I would consider updating it. You can do a backup of your website first, just in case anything goes wonky. You can either use a plugin called Updraft, or if you're using WPX host, I know they do automatic updates, automatic backups for you all the time. So you should be safe with them. But yeah, do make sure there is a backup. If you're not on WPX and your host doesn't do automatic backups, I would recommend Updraft just to do regular backups of your website anyway. Another thing you might want to change is your menu items. So you'll find it there in appearance and menus. Make sure you're on the main navigation one. You've got lots of different ones here. And you can just drag them around. You can swap them like that. You can put in new things by ticking it and then hitting add to menu and then dragging it. You can also tell it to say different things to what the, so for example, I've got Hendel Manor Barn Wedding there. I don't want that in my menu. It's too long. So I can then change it to barn or something, and it will come up much shorter in the actual menu up the top. And you can remove them like that. So that's nice and easy. Hit save. Another thing is if anything goes wrong, if things go wonky on your website, I would first do these things that you just see if you can work out what's wrong. And if you can't work it out, I would go to your host and ask them what's wrong. First thing you can do is go to your caching plugin. There are lots of them, WP Rocket, there's tons. If you've got a caching plugin, you'll find it in your plugins section here. Mine's WP Rocket. just hit clear cache. Sometimes that clears things away, clears things up, puts things back in order. You can also on Divi, go to Divi down here, theme options. And if you go to, where are you? Builder, advanced builder and advanced, hit static CSS file generation and hit clear. And then you can turn that off again. That can also rejig things so that it becomes not wonky anymore. You can also go into safe mode on Divi in Support Center. So you can try hitting safe mode and look at your website. And if it's all good, all of a sudden, then one of your plugins has probably gone funny. So turn them off one at a time. Just deactivate your plugins over here one at a time. Keep refreshing your website. You'll work out which one's causing it. So you can hit deactivate there, and when you reactivate, it won't lose settings. Just don't delete the plugin, then you will lose settings. So that's what happens if things go wrong. You can also WhatsApp me in the web design group if anything's gone wonky as well, because I can then have a look at it too. But that is all the stuff you should know. Your media library, you probably don't need to access it manually like this too often, because you'll often find it via the page, via your portfolio or something, and you'll probably drag things in from there. All you have to do is drag in, so it's really easy to add stuff from the page. So when you hit that image and you want to replace it, you can just drag new images, like hundreds in at a time if you want, into the media library via there, or you can add them in through here as well. Just add new and you can drag them here as well. Do make sure your images are small, maybe 1800 pixels wide if you're using them full width, and 9:6 DPI. You can do that in Photoshop, you can do that in JPEG Mini. Try to keep them around 500 kilobytes or less in size. So if you've got an image that is over a megabyte, or God forbid, like 10 megabytes, absolutely get it in Photoshop and resize that first, because that will slow down your website and be a very bad user experience. It's bad for your SEO. So do get on top of that. But if there's anything else that you need explained or help with, do pop me a message in the WhatsApp.